Hey everybody, Johnny Guns Investigates coming to you guys tonight, Tuesday, January 9th. Here we are, another year. Hope everybody's enjoying their day. Johnny Guns Investigates. Don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, and let's chat about this story tonight, guys. And again, remember, get yourself a nice cup of coffee, something to drink, something to smoke, whatever y'all like. Sit back, relax, and listen to Johnny Guns Investigates because we got a story that's really popular right now out there, guys. Gypsy Rose. Everybody's talking about it, everybody's chatting about it. She's free from her 8-year sentence, which she was charged for second-degree murder. Uh, we got Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Dee Dee Blanchard, which was the mother who raised this kid to be what she is today. And we'll discuss that here in a minute, guys, because I really want to get your decision on this is whether or not Gypsy Rose is a victim or a murderer. And should she be getting all this she is today? That's what I want you guys to tell me. What do you think? Because I know what I think, and I'll give you my opinion. I will. Some people don't agree with it, but hey, our opinions are our opinions. So we're going to go back to when Gypsy Rose was a little girl and being raised by her mom, Dee Dee, because the dad was a lot younger back when Dee Dee was born. He was 17. Dee Dee was, I think, 7 years older than Rod, which was Gypsy's dad. So he was out of the picture, okay, for the first 3 years, helping raise and be there for his kid, but after that, out of the picture, okay. And then also before the 3-year mark, when Gypsy Rose was about 2 years old, Dee Dee's mom, Gypsy's grandma, was very involved also in helping out raising this child too, because they all lived together in Slidell, Louisiana. And Dee Dee had a criminal mind, the mom, from way back, because she was convicted of felony fraud before Gypsy was 3 years old. She stole checks from her dad, which was, from her grandfather, and cashed them. Also, some criminal mischief charges and some petty theft charges and shoplifting charges that Dee Dee had on her. But for the fraud of the bad checks, she got sent to prison for 9 months. She had to serve a 9-month sentence in jail. So at that time, the grandmother, Dee Dee's mother, was raising Gypsy Rose. And then once Dee Dee was released after 9 months, she took over 100% of raising this kid, which wasn't good because Dee Dee wasn't all there upstairs, okay? She molded this little girl, Gypsy, to believe psychologically that she had all these diseases and illnesses and disorders in her health, that this kid had nothing else to think but to believe this is what she had and what she was. Because when you're such a little person, you're a child, you're molded by your parents. You can mold somebody, especially when Dee Dee kept her out of school. She homeschooled her, kept her away from everybody. She kept this kid as a prisoner. Okay. If we were kidnapped as a child and somebody was doing this to us, it would be you would do anything you can to get away. And that's how I look at it. So Gypsy Rose was molded and groomed to be a con artist, to lie, and to deceive everybody around her, because the mom not only bled it into her mind, feared this little girl that she could never tell anybody that you can walk and that these things are not true, because we'll lose everything. We'll be on the streets. We won't have anything given to us. And during this time, they were, Make the Wish Foundations, Homes for Humanity, just giving so many different trips to Disney World, a free house, two different types of vehicles they had in that time. People just donating money, hands over fist. Just Dee Dee using Gypsy since 3 years old as a gain of income, money, attention, and to just do things that most people can't even do. They built a special home for her. Now they had to move out of Slidell because of the hurricane, and it just destroyed everything. And that's what she used also too for the medical records and never having any kind of medical records when doctors asked. She lost everything. And then they moved to Missouri, and that's where that house was built, especially made for a handicapped child. Ramps, widened doors, and everything. So Dee Dee had this kid believing that she had cancer, sleep disorder, uh, muscular dystrophy, said that she had the mind of a 7-year-old, you know, when she's in her teens, and had seizures a couple of times a night, needed hearing aids, glasses, couldn't walk. And guys, none of that stuff was happening. None of that was true. Nothing. 100% healthy. But this is the deception that the mom molded this child to be in torture, abuse, mind control, prisoning her child to be so scared that she can't tell anybody. And this kid didn't understand until she was in her high teens of 18, 19, that she didn't want to do this no more. Her mom was abusing her, that this was not right for her to be going through. So she was being abused by her mom because her mom had that disease of the Munchausen by proxy disease, to where you're going to take all these illnesses that you come up with and put it onto somebody else. Okay. But in this case, she used those illnesses into a financial gain for not only herself, but to live a life of freeness, of nothing. People just donating things over hands over fists just to make this little girl illnesses and being sick. And the number one thing I keep forgetting too, she had this kid thinking she couldn't eat. She was being fed by a feeder in the stomach, a stomach feeder, a tube. And that's how this kid ate every day. She wasn't allowed to eat no sweets. She was allergic to sugar. I mean, just everything. And then they got this mother who weighs 300 pounds eating gummies and ice cream and all this junk food that she gets donated to her, eating anything she wants, but making her kid eat everything out of a blender and stuff through this hose, okay? A feeding tube. And there was nothing wrong with Gypsy Rose. Okay. So as Gypsy Rose grows older, she meets her neighbor who she became very close with there in a new home in Missouri. And the neighbors would become friends with Gypsy Rose. And Gypsy Rose is living a life through the eyes and the life of this neighbor. Knowing she's being able to go out, do what she wants, date, to see boys, talk to boys. And then the neighbor tells Gypsy Rose that she has a boyfriend and she's getting ready to move because she's moving in with the boyfriend she met online on a Christian dating site. So then, boom, in Gypsy's mind, now she gets in lies and not lies. She hides from her mom. She's on her own Facebook account, gets on that Christian dating site and meets a guy, Nicholas, and starts chatting with him online and builds up a relationship. After 2 years, they start dating, becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, and making all these fantasies, and they're going to get married and have kids. And they have to get rid of the mom in order for this to happen, because the mom don't want nothing of Gypsy seeing anybody. No dating, no nothing, no marriage, nothing. Because Gypsy snuck out before, went to a guy's house, and the mom found her there and tied Gypsy to a bed for 2 weeks and tortured her. So she bleeds into this guy Nicholas, who also is a psycho. He has two personalities: himself, which is Nicholas, and then he has Victor, who lives in his mind, who's evil, who's Satan, who does evil things and wants to murder and rape. So Gypsy talks him into and gaining his trust into murdering her mom. So Gypsy puts this whole plot together for Nicholas to come down from Wisconsin on a bus to Missouri to the home and murder Dee Dee while she's sleeping. This happens. So Nicholas comes, but that's not Nicholas that night. He's Victor. He's that crazed Victor, the other person in his mind. Okay. They stab Dee Dee to death while Gypsy Rose is in the bathroom trying to cover her ears, but hearing everything going on. And now we have to remember Gypsy Rose planned this whole murder and got Nick to do it. Okay. But you guys got to remember now, she's actually at this point in her mind, and she's also addicted to Vicodins and all types of pills at the age of 16 years old, this kid. So she's going through withdrawals, which she doesn't even know what withdrawals really mean. She just knows she's having a need to have this pill. So she's taking Vicodin, and getting her mind so out of whack. This kid's not thinking right, but she also wants to escape the hands of this crazy mom imprisoning her to be something she's not. The kid's 100% healthy, knows she can jump out of that wheelchair and run and sprint out of that house as quick as I could. But she's scared. And the only way she can leave this mother is to kill her. She gets Nicholas to murder her mom while she's sleeping, stabbing her in the back numbers of times, slicing her throat from behind in the neck, and kills her mom. And Gypsy thinking they're going to go live a life together. Nobody's ever going to know, and everything is going to be okay. They do get arrested. And of course, we know Gypsy Rose has to go to jail for 8 years. She was convicted of second-degree murder. So guys, I want you to tell me, what do you guys think? If this was happening to you, what would you do? Because if this was happening to me, I would actually have to do the same thing. I would have done it. You have to get out of there. She's so scared in her mind, her mom's going to find her anywhere she's at. So she's saying, the only way I can get out of this is murder my mom. She does it. Well, she doesn't. He does it. But she planned it all. So she serves her time, second-degree murder. While she's in jail for the 8 years out of the 10, she was engaged to a gentleman. They broke up. And then she gets engaged to another gentleman she meets online, Ryan, who is 32 years old. He is a social studies school teacher for 6th grade. Seems like a very nice guy. So she meets him online, and they get married in jail. Okay. And then here we go. What do you think? Is the marriage going to work? Is she going to be loyal? Is she going to cheat? Is that the guy she wants? He seems like a really nice guy, people. He seems like he has a good heart. He's not out there for the getting known out there. He don't care. He's a heavy set guy, big guy, not the best looking guy, but his heart is there. It looks like. But do you think she's going to be loyal? Is she on a scam again? Or is she on a road to recover everything in her life and to start fresh and be a good citizen? Guys, we're going to watch a video from Law and Crime. Like I said, get yourself a nice cup of coffee, whatever drink you like, whatever you like to smoke, whatever. Enjoy, relax. Let's watch this video together at Johnny Guns Investigates. Let's chat, hit the like, and let me know what you think. Victim, murderer. Now everybody's giving her the red carpet treatment. Does she deserve that? Or do we look down on her because she planned the murder of her own mom? I'll give you my opinion soon, what I think. But my hat goes off to her. So let's watch this video, guys, and then we'll chat. We got Law and Crime coming to us, and it's a great video. It's a long one, but it's a good one.
Free physically, but I'm not free from the trauma.
After serving 8 years in prison, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a convicted murderer turned social media sensation, is finally telling it all. From sexual abuse allegations to a prescription pill addiction, a prior murder attempt, and even a voodoo hex with a supposed curse. Here's all the bombshell revelations we've learned since Gypsy Rose's release and what her 6-part series left out.
Hardest thing was to watch everyone tell my story and, get it wrong and speculate and everything. But now I'm
your
free.
turn.
It's my turn now.
Yeah. Gypsy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder back in 2016 in connection to the death of her mother, Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard. This came after Gypsy's alleged years of abuse, all at the hands of her mother.
Because she controlled every aspect of my life.
Gypsy was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but was granted parole before that decade-long mark. She was released from Missouri's Chillicothe Correctional Center on December 28th, having served 8 years behind bars. Since then, she's become something of a social media icon, amassing millions of followers on multiple platforms.
Hey everyone, this is Gypsy. I'm finally free.
Followers get snippets of Gypsy's life through her own personal videos, but with the release of her newest series, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, they're given an in-depth account from Gypsy herself.
After a lifetime of silence, I finally get to use my voice to share my story and speak my truth.
Throughout the docuseries, Gypsy discusses her relationships with her mother, saying, quote, "She never wanted me to find love or be happy." Initially, after her mother's murder, Gypsy says she didn't have any remorse. In fact, it wasn't until several years into her prison sentence that Gypsy began missing Dee Dee at all.
Gypsy Blanchard is the only victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy who has killed their mother.
Gypsy's case shed light on the terms Munchausen's and Munchausen's by proxy. After years of living with what she believed were real illnesses, Gypsy realized she was perfectly healthy. Her sickness was a false narrative, all created by her mother.
Munchausen's and Munchausen's by proxy are kind of antiquated names for what psychologists call a conversion disorder. Essentially, when we take Munchausen's, the person believes themselves to have some kind of illness. And so they'll do things to make themselves ill in a way to get attention or to get accolades or to get something, right? There's some external source. Munchausen's by proxy is when the individual puts that sickness, puts that illness on someone else. That's the by proxy part. So it's not Gypsy that has Munchausen's. It's her mother that has Munchausen's, right? That's the conversion disorder. And so when it's by proxy, though, the individual doesn't know any better. They don't know that they're not sick, or maybe as they grow up, they end up realizing that they're not. But the caregiver has purposefully done things to make them sick, has injured the person purposefully to make them sick in order to get the attention that they crave.
According to Gypsy's new series, she got into a motorcycle crash with her grandfather when she was about 5. She had a few scrapes and bruises, but her mother took it to the next level, forcing Gypsy to use a leg brace and later a wheelchair. That was just the beginning.
Why were you in a wheelchair in June of 2015?
Because my mother forced me to be in one.
Do you know why you were forced to be in a wheelchair?
No, sir, she just forced me to be in one.
And how long had you been in a wheelchair as of June of 2015?
Since probably I was about 8 years old.
According to testimony from Gypsy herself, her mother used medications to create symptoms in her daughter. Then she told others that Gypsy suffered from multiple illnesses, including cancer, muscular dystrophy, and paralysis. Dee Dee maintained Gypsy had the capacity of a 7-year-old, forcing her daughter to use a wheelchair for more than a decade.
Was there a time between when you first were put in a wheelchair in June of 2015 that you figured out that you really didn't need to be in a wheelchair?
Yes.
When was that?
I always knew that I didn't need the wheelchair.
And how did you know that?
Because I could walk.
She's truthful.
Did you and your mother obtain any kind of advantage by you being in a wheelchair?
Yes, sir.
What kind of advantage did you obtain?
Financial.
She doesn't hold back.
Attention.
She tells the truth.
Charity.
Financially mean money.
Yes, sir.
Did you obtain money as a result of you being in a wheelchair?
Yes, sir.
How did that work out? How did that happen?
Pretty good.
Experts later determined Dee Dee used Gypsy's fake illnesses as a way to cash in, on everything from Make-A-Wish trips to a home built by Habitat for Humanity.
I asked you why you attained an advantage for being in a wheelchair, and you said people gave you money. And then I think my next question is, why did they give you money?
Because they felt sorry for me. They believed the lie. They believed the fraud.
The docuseries revealed that for years, multiple members of Dee Dee's family say they knew Gypsy could walk and was healthy, but still didn't question her wheelchair use. On top of that, Gypsy revealed her mother's family kept another darker secret, that her grandfather, Dee Dee's father, sexually assaulted Gypsy for years. Gypsy said, quote, "I feel like releasing all of that would be very therapeutic for me." She alleges her grandfather, Claude Petrie, brought her to a woodshed behind his home and forced Gypsy to touch him. She said, quote, "At 9, I don't think I knew it was wrong." Her grandfather told her not to tell anyone and, quote, "I didn't want to get him into trouble, so I kept quiet." Claude Petrie denied these allegations and instead said Gypsy tried to touch him. He has never been charged with sexually assaulting her. But Gypsy doubled down, saying, quote, "There is no part of me that questions if this happened or not. This 100% happened. He can take this to his grave if he wants to, but the one person that is not going to visit him at his grave is me." Gypsy says she only made this bombshell revelation to her stepmother, Christy Blanchard, after she was in prison. Christy, who married Gypsy's father, Rod Blanchard, when she was still a child, believed for years her stepdaughter was chronically ill. Rod told documentarians he believed the same, saying Dee Dee's facade was too convincing to dispute.
What illnesses did you believe you had?
Cancer, muscular dystrophy. I needed glasses. I needed hearing aids. Seizure disorder. And I can't remember what.
And she doesn't have any of the above.
And when did you figure
She's
out that
healthy.
you weren't actually sick?
Jail.
I started to piece things together when I was about 19 years old. Then I didn't understand the full extent of how healthy I was until after I got arrested.
The jail.
Dee Dee's family
Did tests.
explained she grew up with a heart murmur, which they hypothesize could have led to her forcing fake illnesses upon Gypsy. For years, Gypsy herself believed she was really ill.
I thought that I was going to die. Like, I thought that I was a dying child.
Throughout
This is
childhood,
terrible.
Gypsy underwent multiple unnecessary surgeries, including the insertion of a feeding tube that she didn't need and the removal of her salivary glands. That led to Gypsy losing multiple teeth. Right now, she only has 16 real teeth. In multiple current photos, you can see her dentures. Dee Dee's insistence that her daughter was ill was only exacerbated by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. She claimed Gypsy's medical records were destroyed in the storm. This led to Dee Dee fudging the years of Gypsy's birthday to make her daughter appear younger than she really was. Gypsy now says she realizes her mother was suffering from a mental illness.
People often get wrong that my mother was just an evil person, and then that's not the case. She suffered from mental illness, so I don't think that she was ever purposely trying to be mean or hurt me. I think it was maybe something that it was out of her control. It is called a disease for a reason. It is called mental illness for a reason. So, I want to bring awareness to that.
The pair moved from Louisiana to Missouri in 2005, and soon the Missouri Department of Family Services visited Dee Dee and Gypsy's home. A doctor reported Gypsy as a potential kidnap victim after getting wind of the discrepancies in Gypsy's medical documents and was concerned. Still, Gypsy lied about the situation.
Why did you not tell doctors that you knew you could walk or you didn't believe yourself to be ill during the time that you were doing this?
I didn't think that anyone would believe me. I thought they would eventually tell my mom, and that would make my home life even worse for me. I feared her more than I feared
She was in
anyone
fear,
else.
guys. She
This
was in
stress
fear.
led to a new habit of vaping and later smoking, something Gypsy said she did for about a year. But the real bombshell came in the form of a prescription pill addiction Gypsy says she developed after stealing her mother's Vicodin. It happened when she was about 16 years old, and she called it a, quote, escape from reality. Though she didn't know it was addiction at the time, Gypsy went on, quote, "I knew it was a craving. It was all that I could think about." For the first few years of her prison sentence, Gypsy explained she used drugs to cope.
In jail.
She chased
You
the
get
same
drugs
high
in
by
jail,
using
for God's sakes.
Suboxone, a drug used to treat opioid addiction. She even begged her stepmother for $50 to pay for her habit. At the time, Gypsy lied and said she broke a fellow inmate's CD player and needed to repay her.
I'm reprogramming myself, and it takes a minute. I don't think I'm like my mother at all. I try actively not to be.
At one point, Gypsy met a man at a comic book convention and snuck out of the house to meet him. When Dee Dee found the pair, Gypsy says she was chained to the bed for weeks with handcuffs and a dog leash.
She took me back home. She smashed my computer and my cell phone. She chained me to a bed for 2 weeks.
In the docuseries, Gypsy reveals that her mother put a voodoo hex on her at that time, burying a jar in the backyard with a cow's tongue and menstrual blood,
Jesus
cursing
Christ.
Gypsy to a life without love. According to her family members, Dee Dee dabbled in spell casting and magic, but all this made Gypsy even more desperate.
Who initially brought up killing your mother?
I did.
A bombshell reveal in the docuseries shows Gypsy attempted to kill her mother prior to Dee Dee's death. Gypsy admitted to pointing a gun at her mom and firing multiple shots, even hitting her mother with the pellets. It wasn't until after she pulled the trigger that Gypsy realized it was a BB gun. When she was treated for the injuries, Dee Dee told doctors she was robbed at gunpoint in a Walmart parking lot.
This woman comes up with more
As a way to
shit.
create more space for herself,
God.
Gypsy created a Facebook page she hid from her mother, where she would
That's where she met
communicate
old
with her
Nicholas and
secret
Victor.
boyfriend,
There's 2 in
Nicholas
1 here.
Godejohn.
How did you meet him?
On an online Christian dating website.
Do you remember the name of that site?
ChristianDatingForFree.com.
How old were you when you met Nick?
About 21.
In June of 2015, what did you consider your relationship to Nick to be? What kind of relationship?
We were boyfriend, girlfriend.
And when did you become boyfriend and girlfriend?
In October 2012.
When did you first meet Nick in person?
March of 2015.
So between October of
And in
2012
June is when
and
they
March of
killed the mom.
2015,
June 14th,
you hadn't
he
actually
was found
met
dead.
Nick in person?
That is correct.
How did you, what type of relationship did you have during that period of time?
Online relationship.
And by online, what do you mean?
Strictly communicating through Facebook.
Any other ways other than Facebook?
Instant text messaging. Emails.
Prior to March of 15, when you indicated you met Mr. Godejohn for the first time in person, had your mother met him?
No, sir.
Did she know he existed?
No, sir.
Why is it she didn't know?
Because it was a secret relationship and my mother would never allow me to have a boyfriend.
Why not?
Because she controlled every aspect of my life.
Did you and Nick ever talk about the fact that you were not allowed to date?
Yes.
How many times do you think?
I don't remember.
Did you and your mother ever have any discussions about whether you were ever going to be able to date?
Yes, sir.
Did you and Nick talk about that?
We may have.
What did your mother say about your ability to date going forward?
She said that it would never happen, that she would never allow it.
What about marriage? Did you and Nick ever talk about marriage?
Yes.
Did you and your mother ever discuss whether or not you'd be able to get married someday?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
She said that she wouldn't allow it.
Gypsy confided in Godejohn that her illnesses were fake and explained her mother's abuse was only becoming more frequent.
I was growing increasingly desperate to get out of my home life.
I believe it. I believe it.
Did you tell Nick that?
Yes.
And what was your mom doing that caused you to be more desperate?
Things were getting physically and more physically abusive. The hitting was more. The starving was more.
Now, you mentioned you were in a wheelchair. Were you required to act any certain way when you were in a wheelchair?
Yes, sir.
How was that?
She would have me stay very quiet and pretend like I couldn't walk.
Gypsy feared others may not believe her about the abuse and fake illnesses.
I believe her.
Together, she and Godejohn theorized ways to free Gypsy.
Why not just tell somebody rather than kill your mother? Why was that not an option?
I truly didn't believe that nobody would believe me if I told anyone. My mother had legal documents in place saying that I was incompetent, and I thought that meant that if I went to anyone, the police, or told anyone, she would just have them convinced that I was making everything up.
Who talked who into killing your mother?
I did.
She admits everything, guys. Look at this.
In the end, the
No
pair
lies.
decided it would be Godejohn who would kill Dee Dee.
Nope.
He planned to take a bus from his
Nicholas
home in
didn't.
Waukesha,
Victor did,
Wisconsin,
the other guy in
to the
his head.
Blanchards' home in Springfield, Missouri.
Had you discussed alternative methods of killing your mother?
Yes.
What other alternatives had you considered?
Poison, arson, gun.
No holding back.
Why did you not consider
She was telling
poison?
it all.
It was too hard to find an odorless, tasteless poison.
Why didn't you kill your mother?
I didn't believe I could do it.
Could you explain what you mean by that?
I don't like blood. I don't like the sight of blood. Frankly, I'm too squeamish, so I just honestly didn't believe I could do it on my own.
A bombshell reveal in her docuseries that Gypsy recorded a to-do list for Godejohn
Something, guys.
prior to her mother's murder, leading the camera on a
Her
path
fishing
throughout their
knife.
home and pointing out when Godejohn should stab Dee Dee. Gypsy told interviewers she was high on Vicodin at the time of the video's recording.
You could hear your mom, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you heard her scream,
Yes, sir.
and she screamed your name.
Yes, sir.
When Godejohn arrived at her home, Gypsy hid in the bathroom, but heard her mother scream her name as Godejohn stabbed her to death.
You know, the murder just happens again and again and again in my mind. I'm free physically, but I'm not free from the trauma.
After that, Gypsy says Godejohn raped her. The pair stayed in Missouri for several days before taking a bus to
He
Godejohn's home in
raped her
Wisconsin.
after the murder because he wanted
After
to rape
writing
her
a cryptic
mother.
message on Dee Dee's
after killing
Facebook
her.
account, investigators found the crime scene and later tracked down Gypsy and Godejohn. In the series, Gypsy revealed Godejohn wrote to her in early 2019, saying he wanted to be with her and did not regret her mother's murder. She wrote back, though, saying she does not want a relationship with him. Gypsy accepted a plea deal in 2016, while Godejohn was tried and convicted of first-degree murder in 2018. Now, almost a decade after the crime, Gypsy walks free. Experts say it will be a challenge for her to acclimate to life on the outside.
Definitely.
It's shocking for anyone. Honestly, the prison system is setting up a lot of people for failure. A majority of people end up just getting back into prison simply
That's
because
great
they
to hear.
can't meet the
Put you up
criteria
for
for
failure, for
parole.
God's sake.
Right? They find it difficult to get a job. They find it difficult for housing. Family members, if any even exist, probably have ostracized them because of whatever the crime was. I mean, it's very difficult for these individuals to come out of incarceration and then find success. It's very, very rare.
But according to her social
She's
media
gonna find
pages,
success
Gypsy is doing
real
just
easy.
fine in that apartment.
Hey everybody! So we are in Times Square. Look at this. Isn't this epic? Oh my god, I'm so enjoying my time right now. We're just walking Times Square and doing a little shopping. I bought an I Love New York t-shirt, which was on my bucket list, so that was pretty awesome.
Multiple videos show Gypsy on a press tour in New York where she's seeing the sights.
Hey, so we bought tickets to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway, and we are about how many minutes away?
Starts at 7 and it's like we are 10 minutes from
10
showtime.
minutes away, so we'll tell you how it is. It's going to be amazing. I read the book, love the series, and it's going to be an amazing show.
We got great seats.
Yeah, we got, look at
Right
these
on,
seats.
right on the balcony.
Look at these seats. Oh, yeah, that's real nice. I opened up the windows and I'm like, I've never seen tall buildings like this.
She's also seemingly embracing her new sense of style, showing off her outfits and makeup.
Hey everyone, so this is my outfit of the day. Everything is Zara, my top, my shorts, my shoes,
and my makeup was done by the lovely Miss Isabel. So I think I look pretty cute.
Get ready with me for my lifetime press day.
When they filmed the doc, did they bring people in to do your makeup?
No, I did my makeup.
Yeah.
And then I got an email from
So many times. No, just
I wonder. But what Gypsy may be most vocal about is her husband, Ryan Anderson, a 6th grade social studies teacher in Louisiana.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm newly married. Why if you don't play? You know?
yes.
Gypsy and Ryan got married back in 2022 while she was still serving time. The docuseries also gave us insight into the relationship that went on for more than a year before they ever met in real life. Anderson told reporters he first, quote, learned about Gypsy while watching her story and felt, quote, sad for her. I felt like I couldn't judge her for that. He also said
Seems
when
like a
his
good
former
guy.
employer learned of his relationship with
It won't
Gypsy,
last,
they
though.
asked him to resign, saying that the relationship posed a danger for students. He's since found a new job teaching. The first time he and Gypsy met in person, they spoke for 4 hours straight. Anderson proposed during their 3rd visit, and they were married after their 7th in-person meeting on July 21st, 2022.
I'm here for the long haul, like till death do us part.
Gypsy's stepmother and father told documentarians they had doubts about the marriage, which is why Christy Blanchard suggested the pair get annulled about 3 months into their marriage. This came after an argument between Anderson and Gypsy about one of her ex-boyfriends. When the pair started therapy, they decided to stay together. They now plan to have a traditional wedding that her friends and family can attend in person. The pair noted that Chillicothe Correctional Institution did not allow conjugal visits, but they have not shied away from discussing intimate details on social media.
And the D is
Experts say though the pair have been together for several years, it will be a transition as they begin to see each other in person regularly.
Yeah, it's hard to say because we don't really know the type of relationship that they actually have. Yes, they're married, but does she even know what marriage actually means? Does she have a marriage relationship or a marriage type relationship that any one of us would see as being conventional or even unconventional? Just anything that would make kind of logical sense in terms of
like
intimacy.
everything is in life.
There's no guarantee that any of that is there, and it just could actually be another source of exploitation, either from Gypsy or towards the husband.
And while several new bombshells were revealed in the tell-all, a few things were also left out. To start, the series breezed over Gypsy's relationship with one-time fiancé Ken, who reached out to Gypsy after the premiere of the HBO doc about her case called Mommy Dead and Dearest. Ken proposed to Gypsy back in 2018 and even gave her 2 engagement rings before the pair called it off. Gypsy told interviewers the fame was too much for Ken, but didn't go into much more detail. The doc also breezed over Gypsy's other ex, Nicholas Godejohn. Just last month, his defense team filed an appeal for a new trial, citing ineffective counsel during his first go-around. They allege Godejohn's first team failed to highlight his autism disorder, saying a neuropsychologist specializing in the disorder should have testified. His current defense argues that Godejohn should have never been charged with first-degree murder because his mental state doesn't meet the right requirements. Right now, he's still serving a life sentence.
Okay, guys, there
Law
we
and
go.
Crime has reached out to Gypsy's team for a comment, but have not yet heard back.
All right, guys. Here we are. What do you think, guys? Help me out. What's your feeling on this? I mean, does she deserve to do what she's doing now, being in New York, seeing the life, enjoying such pleasurable moments of what her wishes were, what she wanted as a child to see, being outside, seeing New York, seeing plays, living a life that she never got to live because she has been a prisoner, in my belief now, since 3 years old. She's been imprisoned by her mom, to me being tortured, drugged, abused, sexually abused by her grandfather. So many different things happening to this kid, and she could never escape. In her mind, she was just too scared because the only thing she believed in this world was Dee Dee, her mom. The only way out was taking the woman out, man. Taking her out. And that's what she had this guy Nicholas do. So guys, being sexually abused, being tortured, being like all these things that happened to this girl, she deserves, to me, I feel sorry for her. She served her time. She was convicted, second-degree murder, charged with 10 years, got 8. She did it. She served it. Now let her be happy. Let her live her life. She wants to marry Ryan and be married. That's her choice. Let her enjoy it. Do I believe that marriage is going to last? I don't think so. I hope it does, because he seems, Ryan, like he's a nice guy. He's true blue, and he wants it to work. It's up to her. She was addicted to Vicodin since she's 16 years old. Okay. What a terrible thing. Her mom putting it on all those hardcore pills. Okay. Then she gets addicted back to the drugs in jail. So you can get drugs in jail very easy, which we all know that. So Clyde, the grandfather who did sexually abused her, it's terrible that she even had to go through that. Knowing that her mom had the legal documents that she was mentally handicapped, and had this kid so scared that she couldn't just get up and walk and run and go get help like everybody asked, why didn't you just go get help? I believe Gypsy Rose was scared to death. She had no idea what to do, who to go to, or who to turn to, except for this guy Nicholas that she met on the Christian dating site. He had some illnesses, autism, some mental health issues. He said that he even told the cops in the interviews he always heard a voice in his head, which was another name of another gentleman, he says, and called himself Victor, who was not the good person in his head. That was the evil side of him. He wanted to murder, rape, and hurt people. So Gypsy Rose met the perfect match for her, which she needed right then and there. And where did she meet him? On a damn Christian dating site. This girl did not hold back when she was questioned before the sentencing in 2015. You heard it on the video. She admitted everything. She said she admitted it. She did it. She planned it. She wanted her mom dead, and that was the only way she was going to escape. And she did it. So guys, I'm 100% on Gypsy's side right now. I wanted her to have a good life. I hope her marriage works out. Johnny Guns Investigates. Hit the like, subscribe. Let's chat about Gypsy. She has support from her family, her dad, her stepmom. Christy is the stepmother. Rod, the dad, the sister, the stepsister. I mean, she has 100% support. She has a husband now. So let's see if she can face this world and put out those demons that she had to live with for her whole entire life. Let her have some happiness. She served her time. She admitted her faults. So guys, what do you think? Let's chat. Let's chat. Gypsy Rose, guys. Big story. Big things happening for her and her husband and her family, okay? She is out since December 28th. And guys, be safe out there. We have a lot of storms hitting the whole Northeast and coming down here to Florida. We have some tropical weather hitting us tonight. We have some winds that are going to be about 50 miles an hour, some flooding. We have some warnings here. We got snow up north. So everybody, make sure you're safe tonight. Make sure your family's safe. And guys, hit us up here. Hit me up. Johnny Guns Investigates. Hit the like. Let's subscribe and let's chat about this, guys. And remember, let's be safe out there, guys. Okay? And thank you very much for listening tonight, guys. We'll talk tomorrow.